Hello, friends. It's Pastor Kathleen. Welcome to today's Bible reading. We are continuing our series in the book of Mark, The King's Cross. We're looking at the second half of Mark and how it portrays Jesus as the king who came to rescue the world by way of the cross. This is not the kind of king that we normally expect, one who came and gave his life for the sake of all. Yet this is Jesus, our king, Jesus the King. Today's passage in Mark chapter 10 is preceded by the account that Jesus gave of his disciples. It's the third time he told his disciples about how he would go to Jerusalem and about his death and resurrection. And then our passage is followed by the account of Jesus healing Bartimaeus, the blind beggar. And so in between those two passages, we have our passage for today, Mark 10, verses 35 to 45. Listen as I read. Then James and John, the sons of Zebedee, came to him. "Teacher," they said, "we want you to do for us whatever we ask." "What do you want me to do for you?" he asked. They replied, "Let one of us sit at your right and the other at your left in your glory." "You don't know what you are asking," Jesus said. "Can you drink the cup I drink or be baptized with the baptism I am baptized with?" "We can," they answered. Jesus said to them, "You will drink the cup I drink and be baptized with the baptism I am baptized with. But to sit at my right or left is not for me to grant. These places belong to those for whom they have been prepared." When the 10 heard about this, they became indignant with James and John. Jesus called them together and said, "You know that those who are regarded as rulers of the Gentiles lord it over them, and their high officials exercise authority over them. Not so with you. Instead, whoever wants to become great among you must be your servant, and whoever wants to be first must be slave of all. For even the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many." So I wonder, hearing that passage, what stood out to you? What surprised you? I was surprised by the boldness of James and John, just to feel like they were in the position that they could ask Jesus for whatever they wanted. Of course, I noticed that Jesus was very gracious in his response, saying, "What do you want me to do for you?" He didn't just shut them down. So that surprised me that Jesus welcomed their request. And yet, clearly, what was in their heart was revealed, that they had a different idea about Jesus, the King, and what they might receive from him. And he graciously responded that obviously what they expected was different from what was being offered to them. And yet it still doesn't seem like they quite get it, what kind of king Jesus was. It is interesting to me, according to tradition and history, that James was actually the first of the disciples to be martyred, and John, his brother, was the last one to die. The other thing that I thought about, and this might seem a bit different, but that idea of Jesus sitting in glory, that when Jesus sat in glory on the cross, for that was his glory, God's glory displayed there on the cross, that on the right was one thief and on the left was another thief. I don't know if James and John thought about that when they considered Jesus' death, but it is a different way of thinking about who was on his right and who was on his left when he sat in his glory on the cross. And obviously the 10 were just indignant. They were so frustrated when they heard about this. I'm guessing that it was James and John that told them. How else would they have heard? Unless someone overheard it and told them. But if James and John went to the other 10 and told them what they had asked for. And I'm wondering, did they really understand? Was it clear to them what kind of king Jesus was? Or were they just jealous that James and John had had such boldness and such audacity to ask Jesus what they did? And obviously Jesus gathered all of them together and reminded them that the values of Jesus, the values of the kingdom, are so different from the values of the world. And Jesus reminded them, as he reminds us, that the greatest leader is the one who serves. And Jesus demonstrated this in all of the ways that he served, all of the ways that he loved. So as you consider today's passage, as you might think about, what do you want Jesus to do for you? And I don't know what that might be. We obviously are free to ask. But another question to think about, what does greatness look like for you today? And in light of that, in light of what Jesus is described in this passage, who and how will you serve today? If for any reason you are not getting these Bible readings sent to your email, you can sign up at findcommunity.com/Bible reading. And as always, also feel free to share this with anyone that you think might enjoy it or be interested. Have a great day.